everybody. Welcome to Campus Comics Cast, coming to you from Carbondale, Illinois, with special guests from the Campus Comics crew. And now, here's your host, the man with the previews in hand, Mike No.
Well, greetings, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Campus Comics Cast. This is actually a landmark for us of sorts, episode number 40.
I thought it was because of the guest.
No, yeah, well, there is a guest here as well. A first time after many invites to be on the show. But we're coming to you from inside Campus Comics here on Main Street in Carbondale, Illinois, as usual. And this is our previews episode. We'll be taking you on our monthly trip through the March 2019 previews for a product that begins shipping in May of 2019. If you hear anything that we speak of that we'd like to get more information about, just I have to have my order in by March 28th, I think, is the cutoff for this month. So just need to know about it by then. So if you hear anything, give us a call. To join us on this trip, got myself, Mike No, owner-operator here at Campus Comics, and we also have the regulars,
Scott Reed
and Dan Brown.
And for the first time, and not to most of you out there,
but not the first time I haven't had a snarky comment mentioned about it.
Oh, yeah. He's been here in spirit for all previous 39 episodes. But glad to have Matt Martin join us today. Most of you know Matt from having worked at the store for several years. And as you know, it should be an entertaining and lively show with Matt here. So, all right. So with that, we're going to jump right into anything you want to say, Matt, about how thrilled you are to be here.
I'm very happy to be here. I'm happy to have a voice. I almost bailed yesterday. I had no voice, but I'm here, such as it is. Dulcet tones and all.
There you go. So anyway, just want to jump right in on the December, or DC.
Yep.
DC.
And this is the March catalog for items shipping in
May.
In May, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I guess because it's been an issue for you in the past, right? So in the inside front cover, we've got that DC's going to separate the catalog, their DC previews from previews. So you can individually order extra copies. At least that's how I read that.
Okay.
Is that how that actually is?
I will cop to the fact that I did not read that.
Oh,
inside
okay.
cover.
Well, there you go. Well, you should look into that.
I just looked at it and thought, I don't think I've ever read the inside cover.
Right? It's just like, what's the first book
That's
here?
not fun stuff.
But yeah, that would be great because, Marvel, you can get all you want, the other stuff, but you were always just tied to however many copies of the big book you ordered to get the DC. But if you can order additional, that's great, and we will do so. So, other than that, are we jumping in right on to page one?
I think so. I think
Go ahead.
Most of us have it marked. So we're getting the third Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover.
And you read these before. Have you read the other two?
Yeah, I've read. First two. Matt, have you been keeping up with these? Or?
I haven't. I confess I did not read it. I wish I had because James Tynion writes them, and I think he does a pretty good Batman. And also, I got a little bit of a nostalgic memory for the Ninja Turtles from the 80s.
Right.
So
I
definitely should have, but I sadly did not.
Yeah, this was, when they first did the first one, I kept thinking, why wasn't this out when I was 10?
Yeah.
I would have been all about this. I mean, they're still good, and I think it is. Freddie E. Williams, he's worked on Robin a couple times and done some Batman work and stuff, but I think this is really, I think he's really into this. Yeah, and he keeps coming back for this crossover.
Everybody that I know that's read them that like both properties or don't, they just say they're good. They're good reads. Pretty good with all the characters. So
and a variant cover by Eastman too, which is really kind of a nice touch.
That's a nice touch. Page 2, you got Batman: Last Night on Earth. Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo, probably one of the few highlights of the New 52. Mm-hmm. But I guess it's supposed to be like a last Batman type story,
right?
But,
apocalyptic future.
There you go. Yeah.
And I think Snyder said this is the last thing they're doing together on Batman.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the end of their era together.
Gotcha.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna. Is this a Black Label book we're actually going to get?
Oh,
we'll see.
Well, you'll get it eventually.
I'm curious. I'm curious about two things. One, they took it down in the size. It's a $6. I think it's a smaller, more of a comic format this time, right? Is it oversized?
Oh, I don't know.
It just
you
says
never know.
prestige
It says 56 pages.
I mean, prestige format, I would think that means normal trim size.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too,
just
right?
cardstock cover.
Right,
Right?
because
I can't imagine everything's going to be the size of Damn.
Batman
Yeah.
Damned
No.
is $7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
But the thing I'm most curious about is how Black Label is this Black Label book?
Right. Yeah.
Like, did this need to be Black Label, or are we trying to justify the label existing at this point?
I view it as
because people are going to buy it anyway.
It's just it's going to be an Elseworld story. So that's kind of how I view Black Label anymore. Is things that are outside the regular DC continuity.
Be it old or just reprinting previous stuff that's been out there.
Now, when I glanced at that cover, though, I thought he was holding a Green Lantern.
Yeah, that's such a nice touch.
And then you realize you get up close, you had to zoom in on it. I was like, oh, that's the Joker's head.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought was, is this only Black Label because there's a severed head talking to him? I mean, that's like some 50s EC stuff, right? Like the severed head was the thing that killed EC.
Page 4? Who's going to talk about page 4?
What are your thoughts on this, Mike?
Yeah, same old, same old. Nah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. It potential for being good, I guess. Just doing a bunch of one shots. DC's Year of the Villain. With the cream of the crop as far as the talent and everything, we'll just see how it all plays out.
It's everybody that sells a book at that company other than Tom King, basically.
Yeah. Well, it's like the DC Nation one for this year.
Oh, right.
So, and it's going to show up like a week, or actually
the week of Wednesday before Free Comic
Book Day. So
to answer your question, Matt, yes, I will probably order a crazy number of these in order to, because with that price point, you can afford to order 500 copies. So I can get the variants.
I did see the thing too, where we could get the store's ad on the back cover.
Okay,
but again, that's ordering 5,000 copies.
Yes, I probably won't be springing for that.
Could we even get through 5,000 copies before the next thing comes out next year?
I don't think so. I don't think so. If we gave one to everybody walking through the door,
people would be getting sick of looking at them.
Yeah, we still have piles of that DC Nation book, almost a full box left.
Oh yeah,
wow. Those, there was 250 in a box, so we haven't even given 250 of those.
So this is a quarter book. Are we going to be giving this away like we did the DC Nation last year? So,
on Free Comic Book Day.
I actually really love that. My point that I want to bring up with this is, I think DC always pitches these quarter books as a great way to get new readers on them, and I think that's insane because nobody that doesn't read comics is going to come in for a quarter book and then come back for a $5 book next week.
Right.
You're like, hey, Dad, I want to read DC's Year of the Villain. Oh, a quarter? That's fantastic. And then what's the next one? It's $5. Like, that's going to be a hard no if Dad was coming in for the quarter book. But I do think it's a really fantastic thank you from DC to their fans that they kick off their events every year with a quarter book. I think it's really cool. And I think the variant covers, that's great. Like, normally you see a 1 in 500 and you're going to roll your eyes because that's a hard hurdle to leap, right? But when the book is a quarter retail, wholesale's not bad, guys.
Right.
So that's fairly achievable even for a smaller shop than us.
Yeah.
So
to get that amount, because I mean you're talking about what, if you order 500 books, my cost is going to be less than $80, for 500 books, and without getting hard on the numbers, so you know what it cost me.
Top secret.
Somebody other than the calculator right now trying to figure out what Mike's margins are.
Actually, but you can do that, and then with that, with a 1 in 5, you can probably sell that book just enough to cover your cost. So that's why this is doable.
Which is
you got boxes and boxes of books laying around, but you can do that.
So I think putting them out for Free Comic Book Day like you do, and then just giving them away as if they're supposed to be free, they effectively are. Like
they are. They're cheaper than the Free Comic Book Day books.
Yeah. And generally speaking, better.
Better, yeah.
I'm glad they didn't do the bait and switch like they did last year. That was kind of my issue with the DC Nation book.
Yeah.
Because they had the blank cover, which would have obviously been that.
Yes.
But it turned out to be a reprint of the DC Superhero Girls, right?
Yeah. That are
which we gave away a ton of those books too.
Top secret.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
Top secret.
An all ages reprint book.
Page 6. I just realized that it didn't have the first E in DC.
Oh, you just
wow.
Clever.
I
saw that the other day when Tom Taylor was kind of talking about this on Twitter, and he showed some preview art for it and stuff. So
am I missing something on the horror movie variant? What's that?
It.
Oh,
yeah, like that reference there with the Joker. But yeah, DC.
I'd love to say.
I just realized it was a balloon.
All
right. It's Robin and Joker in a red balloon.
Yeah.
I'd love to say that I'm going to pass on it because I think it's not a particularly great franchise. It's not a great idea for a comic. But I look at that Capullo cover and I'm like, that's pretty. I need that. And then I look at that horror variant and I think, I have to have that.
Right.
It feels like it's going to be Walking Dead, though. Batman and Walking Dead is what it feels like to me.
I saw somebody said it's just Marvel Zombies, but DC.
Yeah.
And,
isn't that what we got with Blackest Night? Just because they couldn't,
Yeah, but Blackest Night was awesome.
Yeah. But I digress.
Marvel Zombies was pretty good for a while, too. But, the other thing too with this Deceased is it's so far we've only seen superheroes fighting zombies. Are we actually going to get superhero zombies in this, though?
Right.
You know, I would think they would at some point. Like, how do you not? But
we kind of did with Blackest Night, right?
Yeah,
as
for
they were
sure.
bringing back the Black Lanterns and all that stuff. So, gotcha. All right.
Page 8, we got Batman and the Outsiders 1, which is a resolicit.
Right.
Yeah, because they really need to get Black Lightning back in the DC universe because the TV show's pretty good, so they need to have him out there someplace for people to come in and ask for it. So
I can't wait until we find out what the story behind that was a couple of years from now. Because Brian Hill is basically leaving the comic business. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Oh, yeah.
And allegedly it's over. Behind the scenes issues about getting Batman and the Outsiders out. That's
Wow.
what it caused
Really?
it to be. Yeah.
Wow.
He is still doing a Vertigo book, which I'll bring up in just a minute, and it's really good. But yeah, he's basically wrapping his mainstream comic work up. I'm just going to point out that number 9, page 9, the Dear Justice League looks fantastic. If you have a kid, especially a middle schooler, I think it looks really great. I'm going to get it for my niece and my nephew. It's just got a really great art style. It looks like it belongs on Cartoon Network, to be honest. And I think if you read like the description of basically it's middle school kids writing questions into the Justice League and having them answer things about their childhood. I think that's a really great high concept.
And
I can't believe they haven't done that before.
Yeah, and this is the artist from Bizarro, I think?
Yes, I think.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Many from a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it says it right there in the solicit. Sorry. Yep, you're right now.
Yeah, after that on 10 and 11, we're kind of wrapping up the Terminus agenda, Deathstroke Teen Titans crossover, and so we get Scott's answer. This is how many parts it is.
And I still don't know how many parts it is.
It's six. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, the ads for that came out in last week's book.
Oh, okay.
Books listed as a 6-part
Six-part,
crossover.
okay,
But again,
yeah.
that's the first time I think they've said.
Yeah, because I lost count. I don't think it even says here. So,
Yeah.
so that you remember how many issues have been solicited before, I still didn't know. So.
Yeah. After that on 12, we've got Dog Days of Summer #1. Looks like this is the summer special featuring some stories about the crypto and Bat Cow and Beast Boy and things. So some of the animals taking center stage here, apparently.
You had me at Bat Cow.
I know, right?
Page 13, final issue of Heroes in Crisis. I still don't know if I'm going to read this or not.
Oh man, it's so good.
Is it?
I love it.
Okay.
I love it.
All right.
I love it. I know you guys skipped it last time. Do we want to talk about Heroes? And I said in my car, yes, yes we do. I love that cover, man. That A cover is legit. I love that. The two versions of Wally, the one looking down and the one staring right at the reader. It's just gorgeous. I have my theories, which we will not get into, but I love it. I like that Tom King in general treats superheroes as humans, which I think is something DC doesn't do very well a lot. DC has a tendency to write their heroes as if they were your dad in a costume. They're always right and they're always good. And I think it's one of the things that's always been Marvel's strength is writing more fallible heroes. And I think Tom King writes them like Batman would be a messed up individual if he had endured all of this in his life, right? So I'm always a fan.
I'll probably get the trade, but
It's so good.
Okay, I'm going to trust you on it.
So I don't have anything else till 22. Do you guys have anything before then?
Now 14, I'm not actually interested in what's on page 14. However, it does mention in the copy that there's going to be a Jimmy Olsen book written by Matt Fraction. So that actually is more interesting to me than anything else.
Does it also say the Lois Lane by Greg Rucka?
No, it does not.
Yeah, no, it does.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I know. I've liked Bendis' run so far. I think the Leviathan stuff is way better than the Rogol Czar stuff. I think that's just sort of
Is that his second arc, Leviathan?
Yeah, well, he's been doing mostly Leviathan in action and the Rogol Czar stuff in Superman.
Okay.
Superman is a bit more of the just straight up Superman punches stuff, kind of things, and it just feels like anybody could have written it. If you gave me Superman and didn't tell me it was Brian Bendis, I would never have guessed that was a Brian Bendis book. But I think I probably would have guessed it on Action, which is where the Leviathan stuff's been going on. But yeah, like if I weren't already a fan, which I am, the Fraction Jimmy Olsen and the Rucka Lois Lane, oh man, that's like heaven.
Yeah. I'm at page 20 as well. So
You guys,
I'm going to drop in at 17 then and say that American Carnage by Brian Hill is fantastic. This should be it's the beginning of a new arc. So the first trade should be out shortly around this time. It is very good. Without waxing too much into politics, I will say that it is a very timely book. It is about white nationalists and about the FBI, and it's really good. It's art by Leandro Fernandez, but if you have read Brian Azzarello's 100 Bullets, it looks a lot like the art. It looks like Eduardo Hizzo's art, which if you remember that from either when he did Batman or from 100 Bullets, it's really gritty, it's really dark, it looks like a film noir, but it works really, really well. Heavily inked, but very good.
I was 20.
20,
so.
go ahead.
Okay. Oh, page 20 got Batman 70. I don't know why, but like Flashpoint was like a much maligned, miniseries, but for me, it was a huge surprise at the end of that first issue when we got Thomas Wayne Batman.
Yeah.
I was literally stunned reading that, and here we have, it's been hinted at in the Batman series by Tom King that Flashpoint Batman's going to show up. So here, as far as I know, this is the first issue where he's actually showing up, unless I just am forgetting something.
He was in the background of a couple of shots. When they showed Bane on his throne, he was there.
50, which we've kind of blocked out issue 50 a little bit, except for that last scene. So he's been hinted. That's what I meant by he's been hinted at a little bit.
Yeah,
so.
I'm super excited for this too. I'm enjoying Nightmares. I know there's some folks online think it's a little meandering. I feel like they really put the Nightmares arc in to give Mikael Janin and Mitch Gerrits and some people time to catch up. I know King said the other day on Twitter that he had just sent his outlines into DC for the final 30 issues of his run. Oh, wow. So he's lining up his artists. But man, I'm super excited to get to this night, the arc post Nightmares, Fallen the Fallen, and the variant covers are fan-freaking-tastic too.
On page 22, we've got Batman Beyond 32. Really nice cover by Chris Somney on here. Yeah. Doing some DC stuff. Let's get him on a book. Yeah. Why isn't he doing a regular book?
Legion of
Superheroes. That's exactly what I was going to say. Was please give me Legion of Superheroes. Which I will bring Legion of Superheroes up again in a minute. I promise. I have a theory.
After that, we've got Batman Damned #3 resolicited. So hopefully that'll come out then. We'll see.
They took all the man parts out of it, you guys.
Right.
All of them.
And they're is it late? What's later on there? I'll wait till later. Okay, go ahead. 32 is my next thing.
Okay, yeah, me too.
I was just going to say Doomsday Clock next issue.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah, we'll see when it actually makes it. But penultimate issue, so we're getting close to the end, so we can talk about the last 6 at some point in the near future.
On page 34, we've got the start of Flash Year 1.
How has there not been a Flash Year 1 before?
Yeah, there has.
But I mean, like, called Flash Year. Oh, has there?
Yeah, but I think it was for Wally.
Okay.
Back in the 90s. Okay. But, Barry's, is here, and we've got Howard Porter coming back doing the art. I'm getting this. Howard Porter on Flash, I'm always going to buy.
Yeah.
I think he's a great artist. I'm really looking forward to this.
Well, he draws the Flash really well. He draws movement really well.
Hey, is there something going on with like Godspeed as being a character that's going to show up in like a movie or TV? Because I know
I think
the first issue
rumor
of Flash
that he may be in the Flash movie now, but they've gone through so many different.
Well, you're seeing some.
There's some movement on the first issue of Flash from Rebirth as far as its value going up a little bit. I mean, it's hit like I've seen like $20-$25 on that first issue.
The thing is though too, it's like eventually you'd think they'd get to him in the show.
Yeah,
that's true, as many speedsters as they go through on there, eventually they'll need another one.
Well, they just been recycling the originals back in. So.
Yeah.
I'll stop us on the next page on 37. If you're not reading Freedom Fighters, man, that book is fantastic. It would be really easy to overlook it because I cannot really in good conscience say this is a book that needed to be on the shelf, but I bought it anyway because I like Robert Venditti and I like Eddie Barrow's art, and it's really great. It feels very JSA, not just because Eddie Barrows did some JSA art before, but also it's Golden Age characters. It's got that whole thing about passing the legacy on, and it's really great. It's a world where the Nazis won World War II. I know it's not really a concept we haven't heard before, but it had some really cool stuff in it. I showed Mike the first issue. I can't believe this hasn't been thought of before. They have plastic men, and the S is an SS, and they're like the secret police for the new Nazi regime. They use plastic men everywhere, and it's just been a really fun book. Good superhero stuff.
Well, keeping going with Robert Venditti on page 41, we've got Hawkman #12, kind of wrapping up the first year of stories here, and it's been really good. I'm really looking forward to this issue.
How much do you love the Kryptonian version of Carter's
name?
Is that not brilliant? It's so good.
I love that design, though, too. I really love that outfit. I really want an action figure of that.
I feel like, and I don't mean this to sound negative about it, I'm not saying it's not a great arc. I feel like the entire story arc is based on him saying, man, Qatar Hall sounds almost like a Kryptonian name. Right. And then he was like, hey, that's a great idea. And they spun it out. I mean, I love the arc. I think it's been a great book so far. I'm completely with you.
And again, I was naysaying on Brian Hitch from the first issue. I'm like 3 issues.
Who'd have thought?
According to this, he's getting to 12.
He couldn't do an Ultimates issue a quarter back in the day, and he's knocking out Hawkman every month.
Yeah, so I don't know what kind of lead time they had or whatever, but he's getting it done. So
a decade. It was actually supposed to be a new 52 book.
Right. On 46, we've got Justice League Dark. I just want to point out this really nice Clayton Crane Wonder Woman variant cover they're doing. He does a lot of Marvel stuff, so it's kind of nice seeing him do DC now and then.
He's one of those guys, too, that his stuff's just going up. He's getting pretty hot. He does a lot of variants, and those variants get pretty high in the secondary market.
Dan, do you read Justice League Odyssey?
No.
It took a big uptick for me when Abnett came on this last issue. I liked Dan Abnett a lot. I thought the book was pretty mediocre for the first 4 or 5 issues, but I will say the younger Darkseid in it has a thing in it. It's not a mother box. He has one called an other box. It's the negative energy version of the mother box, and that's brilliant. I can't believe nobody thought of that before. But the Dan Abnett issue, his first one was this last week, and it's really good. It was a lot better. I also feel like there's probably a decent chance that this ties into some bigger stuff in DC later. I know they kind of promised that when they relaunched the Justice League books.
I feel like they promised that with everything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that Justice League Dark is really going to pan out the way DC just sort of tends to stick the magic stuff over in the corner and leave it alone. But this is like cosmic and has the new gods in it, and I think that's probably going to at some point become relevant. So just a word to the wise.
62 is my next thing. At 62, we got Terrifics number 16. As far as I know, this is the last of the New Age of DC Heroes books. It's
that
like
and
still
Silencer.
Okay,
Silencer.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we were just talking about that.
And Terrifics lost Jeff Lemire.
Okay,
so it's not really the original version of it anymore.
But it's not,
creator.
and it's not listed as final issue. So
so
we're still going. So anyway.
I will rewind it for just a second. I think I only have one thing before that. But on 52, Naomi number 5, I think we're up to 2 issues of this out so far, and while the book is incredibly mysterious for no good reason at all, this is where I think if you're going to have a shadow lead in on the Legion, it's this. It's about a girl who was adopted the day that Superman came to town, and there's clearly some sort of other things happened that day, and if I were going to pitch a shadow pilot for a Legion reboot, that's where I'd put it.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I have that first issue. I haven't read it yet though.
It's pretty good.
On page 70, we've got the Batman Damned trade.
Yeah.
Advanced solicited, though, I think.
That's going to be so fun to say.
September.
Yeah.
The damned hardcover.
Yeah.
It's like a Vegas vacation joke. Right there for the taking.
And then after that, we've got Batman Year One.
Wait, but you skipped the question. Will it be censored or uncensored? Quote, unquote. Putting up my quotes here.
Do they list it in the
solicit? It's going to be censored.
Yeah.
It does include a sketch gallery, so there might be more.
It could be twice, not just once, but
it could
twice.
be a whole bunch. Who knows how many revisions that page went through?
They did of that, right?
After that, we've got Batman Year One joining the Black Label. New trade edition of that.
74.
On 73, we've got another DC poster portfolio by Frank Cho this time, so probably be some good kind of pinup stuff in there.
74. This just aggravates me a little bit that they're giving you another deluxe edition of this hardcover for Detective 1000 with another new story. So we couldn't get it out for the regular Detective 1000. So now we're going to, get another $20 of yours so you can buy this extra 8 pages that we cram into this one hardcover. So it's a little bit of a cheapy thing that DC's doing there, I think, but I'll get over it.
Yeah.
On 77, we've got the Luthor 10th Anniversary Edition trade paperback. This story was originally called Lex Luthor Man of Steel, and it came out in 2005. So I'm not sure where they're getting 10th anniversary from. I know they kind of retitled it after the Joker book came out, and they just changed this to Luthor. So I don't know if it's 10 years of it just being Luthor.
It's the 10th anniversary of the 4th anniversary. That's obviously what's going on.
So it's a great story, though. If you haven't read it, pick it up.
On 78, I don't know how they get around the likeness rights on Alan Moore's face.
Right.
Evidently they do.
They do. The Swamp Thing on
I know it's
Dark
Lucifer,
Yeah, the Lucifer here.
Okay.
And then on
Is there anybody that knows what Alan Moore looks like that doesn't go, that's Alan Moore, right?
With horns. Oh, wait, no, that's Alan Moore.
Yeah, could be. He's reclusive.
Right.
There might be a reason.
And then on 82, we've got Alan Moore's Absolute Swamp Thing resolicited after it was canceled previously.
DC's like playing a game with you like you do with your dog, right?
I know, right? Yeah. They're doing something. Going into the figures, here at Toy Fair a couple weeks ago, DC showed these Lucha Explosiva figures with the superheroes reimagined as luchadors.
So I have opinions, but I'm going to let you go first.
Well, my opinion, and with Toy Fair in general this year, every collectible action figure is $35.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've got bills.
So my question is, who is the audience for this? Because if this were a Cartoon Network cartoon, I'm not going to lie to you, I think it would be awesome.
Yeah.
Like if they had a luchador superhero cartoon on Cartoon Network, even if it was one of the little 5-minute interstitial things they do in between episodes, that's brilliant. That should be on TV right now, right?
Right.
But what child is paying $35 per figure? First of all, it's not. So, but I don't know that adult collectors were like, you know what I really want? I want some Mexican wrestling Batman figures. I just don't know that anybody asked for that. But it feels like such a missed opportunity to not have that be an animated series and sell these figures for $10 a piece.
Yeah.
I don't know anything else DC.
Because when I saw a picture of them, I'm like, oh, those look really cool. It's like, oh, they're how much?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to see about that.
Yeah, it's pretty light all the way through. You going to talk about the...
Well, unless you wanted to.
No, go ahead.
Well, yeah, so then on page 90, we've got new from the DC Artist Alley. We have some vinyl figures designed by James Groman. And we've got some pretty crazy Batman, Two-Face, Killer Croc, and Joker figures, which to me look like 90s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle action figures.
They really do.
You know, there's really kind of that vibe. Just these really kind of grotesque, extreme characters. But again,
the Two-Face just looks like, I can't remember the guy's name. He's a Green Lantern villain. This dude's got a giant head.
Hector Hammond?
Yeah, there you go. It's like two H's. I know that. I can't remember it. It just looks like Hector Hammond, but also, I don't know, maybe with a Toxic Avenger fused on halfway to it. It's ugly is the only thing I thought when I looked at it.
And again, the $65 price point on those, too. So they are pricey.
Yeah.
And again, vinyl figures, you know, more of a collector's, you know, higher end kind of thing. And that's all I had. There's some more.
There's a Harley Quinn Red, White, and Black based on the art of Greg Horn, which is a really different take on that character. The character has had so many takes done on it, but this is a little unusual.
I really love that DC Prime Batman, but I don't want to be
the price.
Even with so here's the thing. Even with the price, if you're going to charge me $125 for a figure that's that good, can you give me like a classic Batman costume?
Right.
Not the one that kind of looks like a knockoff version of the video game version. Mm-hmm. So it looks kind of like Arkham Asylum, but not really. And it's got like the weird, really shiny gold stuff, which feels very un-Batman to me anyway. Like a yellow circle's one thing, metallic all over it is kind of another.
It's also the thing too of just like the articulation is so heavy with this real stylized figure that you get a weird look around the joints.
It's almost like a robot Batman.
Yeah, for sure. And it's definitely more like an Iron Man kind of suit, you know. Which again, they kind of push that in the Arkham Knight game.
Yeah.
All right, well, that do it for DC then.
That's it.
Well, so on to Marvel. You guys roll.
Well, the first like 30 pages is all,
of course,
it's all up Scott's alley.
Are you ready? Because I'm going to buy a bunch of that War of the Realms.
I listened to you. Not only did I count the pages this time, I went through. It looks like there's a checklist in this one.
25 comics.
Bleeding Cool had a thing up.
That tie into this.
Bleeding Cool had a thing up. I think it was $110 retail for all the War of the Realms. I don't remember if it was this catalog or the previous one, but it's insane.
Yeah,
and I'm not in any way saying it's not insane. It is.
And I should actually be excited for this because I like Jason Aaron as a writer, and I have zero interest in this story.
He is saying like this is like the culmination of his run on Thor.
Yes. I'm like too much.
I'm not bothered by all the tie-in issues because that feels very much like a '90s Marvel crossover from my first adolescent years. Well, but my adolescent years, where you would be like, you get sort of like those madcap, oh man, who's crossing over into this book? You get to see villains you would never normally see in these settings, and that's kind of cool. So like, even if you go back to, oh man, what was the one where all of the Masters of Evil teamed up to swap? They fought each other's heroes. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? Like that. Yeah. That's a great idea. Like, and I know it's just designed to sell books, but it's kind of cool to see like, oh, Captain America fights Fin Fang Foom in this one or something weird. You know, we're like, oh, I never get to see that otherwise. So I'm really happy about that part of it. What I'm not happy about is the endless number of standalone minis.
Yes.
Do you have to have this many standalone minis? Like, just put them in the books. Yeah.
I just wonder if you can read War of the Realms and not read any of the other stuff and still understand what's going on.
I feel like you usually can with a Marvel event, which is why people know that they can pick and choose the minis. You just pick the ones that have a creative team or a character that you like, and don't get too terribly hung up on having to have them all. I'd like to say that I'm too old to buy Savage Avengers, but I'm not going to lie to you. The part of me that is still in 7th grade in 1992 and really just devouring every Marvel book I could get my hands on sees Wolverine and Conan the Barbarian together and is like, yes, put it in my bag right now. I have to have that. And I'm going to buy it, and I'm sure I'm going to like it.
So I don't have anything until 34.
There's some nice variant covers. with War of the Realms, but I probably won't be picking them up.
I don't have anything until 31, which is just to say that I think that Ta-Nehisi Coates' Captain America run has been really great, and Adam Kubert's doing art in this one, so I'm pretty happy about that. And covered by Alex Ross, so kind of can't go wrong with that.
Some of the variants that Dan just mentioned are the Battle Lines variants again, which that first round of those are really nice. They're just really nice. Usually just character studies, just pinup styles, and just really just solid classic versions of those characters. So,
what'd you say your next thing is, guys?
34. It's mine.
32.
So go ahead.
Well,
Dan.
32 again. Marvel's keeping Scott in mind with these new Marvel Tales at $8 reprints.
He loves those.
So
I love those. I buy them all.
Again,
2 of them
because
to go
Scott,
with the other copy I already have.
because Scott
One
demanded
to keep and
it.
one to trade, like it's a Beanie Baby.
So 34.
34. I have not read any Immortal Hulk yet.
Oh,
However, I keep hearing it's good.
I will die on this hill. It's the best book Marvel puts out.
Okay, well,
And it is arguably my favorite superhero book on any week that it comes out, at least. And I buy a lot of books.
Well, apparently he's getting onto an alien xenomorph ship. On this
Yeah,
stuff.
that's what it looks like.
He went to hell and fought his dad recently. I mean, nothing about this screams, this is a great Hulk book to me if you write this down on paper. But it's really great. I mean, I think it leans into all of the themes that a good Hulk story probably should about, the legacy of abuse and bottled rage, but also it leans really hard into those early Hulk stories, which are kind of horror books.
Yeah.
Like
Sure.
in
It's
this,
monster. Yeah,
the
it's a
Hulk
monster
only
book.
comes out at night. And this, he says all the time, like, the daytime belongs to him, and and like Banner says night is his time, and it feels very 60s Marvel at the same time that it feels a little bit like it could have been like in an issue of Creepy in the 70s or something too. And there were, I don't know, when he was in hell, he lost his rage, and Hulk was still huge, but he was like emaciated and withered. He was just like a little bit of muscle and bone, and he was still angry, so he could still hit things, but he wasn't like as durable as the Hulk was. So he could still generate the power, but he couldn't generate the basically being invulnerable to everything. And it was really cool, and it looked really weird, but it was a lot of fun.
So after that, on 36 and 37, we've got this month's True Believers offerings, and where I guess they're focusing on different creators.
Yeah,
from over
they
there,
say they
so-
do. They say they are, but yeah, it's kind of some weird books. I thought. for
Yeah.
some of these creators.
Yeah.
I don't picture like Larry Hama with Iron Fist. I picture him more as like a G.I. Joe book. I guess they don't have the rights to it though. I guess that's the reason
Or
why. but-
Wolverine, at least.
Yeah. But I see like you got the first Colleen Wing, you got the first Misty Knight, then you got the first Power Pack, which I have fond memories of Power Pack from back in the day. And it's like, why just reprint the first issue of Craven's Craven's Last Time? I don't why.
Well, I mean, there's the Hunted
ridiculous.
story going on in
I
Spider-Man.
guess the idea is that you're going to spend $1 for it, like it, and then come track down the trade paperback.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
but it's just kind of weird to like on the shelf this week they got True Believers of Avengers 183, which is a 2-part story. Are they going to True Believers Avengers 184 so you can get the end of that story?
Right.
A thing that I know from the years that I worked here is that there is an oddly passionate fan base for the Power Pack, and I always feel a little bad for him when periodically Marvel is like, "Hey, you guys remember the Power Pack? We still own those."
Yeah.
And then everybody gets excited, like the Power Pack fans are like, "Oh, they're going to bring them back," and then Marvel is like, "Nah,
Well, they were
we're not going to do anything. We just want you to remember they did exist, and you
Yeah.
used to love them. Yeah,
Future
well, we're not doing
Foundation.
anything with them.
They were
Yeah.
Future Foundation for a while.
They're
so,
also
yeah.
in the dollar boxes here.
Yeah.
So if you want to come check
Hey,
them out.
Come on in.
I picked up some of those dollar books, so now this is kind of cool. On what page is this? Page 38. Yeah. So
I got that marked too.
A legacy issue for the original Marvel Star Wars. So it's issue 108, right? So we're going to continue with the original characters from the original comics. So of course we may get Jackson back. I don't know. That could be a downside.
I think we are.
Yeah, but so if you like your green giant rabbits, then here's the book for you.
And not the only time Jackson appears in the previews this month.
That's true too. Yep.
So, and this is just a one-shot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
It's kind of the way that DC did for the Blackest Night stuff way back.
Yeah.
Remember, they did the last issue of canceled books
Yeah.
again? Yeah, it's kind of the
okay.
same thing. They're just doing one more as if it had never stopped.
can't stop, won't stop.
That's true.
So on 57, anybody got anything before that?
I had something on 43. What was 43?
Oh, 43 is that Spider-Man thing.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think.
So you got the
Oh,
third
life
book
story.
of the Spider-Man life story. I think this is going to be around Craven's Last Hunt. We got Spider-Man in a coffin, so I'm
Yeah,
assuming
black suit.
But
that's what it's an ode to.
I love the Cold War reference with the missiles. If you can see the hammer
Oh.
and sickle that are on there, which is really cool for it being the 80s.
Right. Mm-hmm.
On
let me see
57, we've got a new facsimile edition of Alpha Flight #1. $5 or probably at our dollar boxes. We have a ton of Alpha Flight in there. So come get the real thing.
I just got 59. I don't have anything particularly deep to add here other than to say that I think that Mark Waid's Doctor Strange has been really fantastic. Kind of the same way that I feel about Hulk. If you told me it's Doctor Strange in space, I'd have been like, no. But it was Mark Waid, so I was like, well, I will try it because Mark Waid writes good superhero stories. And it was really fun. They're not in space anymore. They're back on Earth, but it's been really good. They had a 2-issue arc where it turns out that every time that Doctor Strange calls on all these other forces, like by the wand of Watum and all that stuff, that those are actual forces out there, and he is drawing power from them, and he's not been paying them back. And there was a cosmic accountant who came to settle debts with Doctor Strange that he had quite accrued. It was basically a debt collector for all of the sorcery he had performed over the years, and they were not happy. On the next page, the Punisher arc, the Punisher run with Matthew Rosenberg has been a lot of fun, actually. He is currently kidnapped by Baron Zemo and trapped in Bagalia, which is, I guess, some Eastern European made-up country. And he's using Jigsaw to frame Punisher for all kinds of war crimes while he is in a prison. So currently Punisher is staging a prison escape with the help of a nun, which is a thing that, again, doesn't really sound like it'd be a lot of fun, but it's really good. She's a mean nun, if that helps you, if that makes it make more sense.
It sounds like an 80s movie.
It does. And that might be why I think it sounds great.
On 69, we've got the next chapter of X-Men Grand Design, Extinction by Ed Piskor. I've really been enjoying these, so I'll definitely be picking that up.
All right, page 71. We probably shouldn't even mention this, but I think Liefeld is just leaning into it now. We have a cover. We have 10 characters on this cover, not a single set of feet.
Okay. Nope,
not one. You get
close. But on the other side, there are 2 feet. Count them 2. I have a theory I used to use all the time, and we used to drag issues out of the back issue box when I worked here, that every Liefeld cover is one of 2 things. People looking to the right, you're right, or somebody doing something and somebody doing something and somebody falling down. And this features people looking to the right.
Okay, there you go. Yep.
But I will say, you guys talked about this in the last one, It's Deadpool. I will happily be wrong about this, I guess, if I am, but I would bet you money that Major X is Old Cable. Because Old Cable, original Cable's original name was Commander X. That's what the editors pitched as his name. I'm betting you that's how they get around the fact that Young Cable killed Old Cable. They'll just have, both of them. Because if you can have 2 Wolverines, you can sure as heck have 2 Cables.
So kind of getting into the Age of X-Men stuff here. Are people enjoying this? We've started seeing it come out now. Are people picking it up? Or
they've been buying it, but I haven't really heard anything about it. Nobody's like, man, this is great or this is terrible. Haven't really heard it.
I like it.
Do you?
Yeah, but I also, if you tell me that Apocalypse is going to lead a free love hippie cult, and I will buy that book. Because that sounds weird, and I want to hear about it.
Miller thing's on 111, so...
So go.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
I got to find
you guys have anything between
mine is on 103.
Oh, okay, so you're good.
Yeah. 103 has the X-Men hardcover by Roy Thomas and Neil Adams. This is the stuff that was put out after Marvel had officially canceled X-Men back in the day. Settle down, children. Once there was a day when Marvel didn't want X-Men, right? That's why Wolverine's first appearance was in the Hulk, because Hulk sold better than X-Men, and that's how you're going to launch a book. But it's really good. It's you can tell that Marvel didn't care what happened in that book, and they kind of let him run a little wild, and that's where the Savage Land stuff is too. And then the next page, there's a giant Marvel horror omnibus, and that's just fantastic. There's a lot of great creators on that too.
So back on 87 at the start of the
way past,
Star Wars section, as we have some Star Wars True Believers that'll be out for May the 4th, which is also Free Comic Book Day this year.
Yeah.
So since they're not putting out a Free Comic Book Day Star Wars book.
So we got some reprints here. We got a Star issue of Ewoks from back in the day, and then the first issue of the Thrawn miniseries, which was really good. So,
and that Darth Maul, Son of Dathomir, in real life, if that were the Dark Horse one, those are fairly valuable. So you're going to get people asking you, "Is this for real $1?" It's not the one you think it is.
But yes, it's $1. So.
Yes, This one is. It's not what you think.
All right.
Well, okay, so page 111, Spider-Man Noir, the complete trade paperback for fans of Into the Spider-Verse who need more. You can have the Nicolas Cage voice in your head as you read this book. So,
back on 104, we've got Timely's Greatest, The Golden Age Submariner by Bill Everett, omnibus. kind of collecting some of that. I don't know if I ever really see that stuff collected too much.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't there something last month for Submariner?
There was the Marvel Comics stuff.
Yeah, but I thought it had a lot of those same issues in it. So I thought
it
was weird that it was, back to back. Yeah,
yeah.
I thought there was a Submariner book last month too. I don't remember, but I just vaguely remember that.
Yeah, and then on the next page, 105, you've got the Marvels poster book. It says, art from the Marvels book by Alex Ross.
Oh.
On 115, we've got the next Decades collection. It's Marvel in the 90s, and it's The Mutant Explosion, which is completely appropriate, for the time. What else would it have been?
It was back when Spider-Man had the non-mutant superhero on the cover.
Yeah.
I always thought it was great.
On 117, we've got Marvel Monograph, which is that a new thing? I don't know that I've noticed that before.
But I don't think I have either.
Yeah, this is the art of Humberto Ramos. Spider-Man trade here, so collecting some of his stories there. Then on 130, we've got, again, probably wanting stores to get, ready for May the 4th. We've got a lot of Star Wars trades solicited in here that you can get.
If you want people to stock up, maybe offer an additional discount to retailers, Marvel.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, so here towards the end, I'm not even sure what page this is, but it's listed as Marvel Graphic Comic Box in the catalog.
I like that it appears as a certain point where Marvel was like, "Oh, we're just not going to put page numbers on anymore. Just
they put them on every 6
pages. If they got
pages.
this far, they're going to keep going."
Yeah.
About every 6 pages, they have a page number.
But we've got The Adventures of Spider-Man Volume 1, which this is the 90s comic, I think, based on the cartoon.
Yeah, I think it is.
So I don't know why they're collecting that now, but here they are if you want them.
I think you demanded it. That's what they always say.
And back on the last page, we're back to our favorite poster game.
Nice.
Marvel dropped the ball. We've got Free Comic Book Day Spider-Man TBA artist poster.
TBA is one of my favorite artists.
He's so great.
You know how great it would be if you were an artist and your actual initials were TBA. You get so much work.
Yeah.
Big book.
All right.
I think
that'll
so.
do it for Marvel for everybody. Moving on to the big one.
Page 30. Order your own copy of previews so you can play along
it.
at home.
Do it.
Yes.
Keep it score at home.
That's right. You can mark up all your pages and all that good stuff. So, then page 46. We've got from Image a new series, Excellence #1, fantasy action series set in the world of magic. I'm probably gonna give it a try to see how it's like.
Too.
Yeah, to see what it's like, see if it's any good or not.
Brandon Thomas, do we know what he's done before? Is there any credits there?
It says some things here. We Are Robin, Noble Black, and Tech Jacket.
Okay, yeah, I see there.
And Brandon Thomas, Horizon, The Many Adventures of Miranda Mercury, Noble, and Voltron for all the St. Louis people out there.
So if you liked any of that stuff, maybe you'll like this.
I will throw out, if you look on that last page of preview art, if you can't tell that this is being pitched for Michael B. Jordan, I just don't know what to tell you. That's quite obviously him. So when this does get made into a movie, and this issue appreciates in value, just remember.
And you'll be like, why'd they get John Boyega?
And I think it looks better than the other #1 issue from Image this month, which is that Gogor #1. I don't know. I'm looking at the preview art for it, and I'm just not getting excited about it. But if you do like to pick up all the Image #1s, then here's another Image #1 for you to add to that.
On 64 and 65 with Image, we've got new editions of all the Copra trades. And so apparently Copra is coming to Image, so I assume that means the regular series will be coming too. We'll see. I know, Michael Peavey's been self-publishing this for years now and started doing it on Etsy back in the day. So those first few issues are pretty pricey now. So, but yeah, you can get them affordably here for all the trades. And again, the trades have even been sort of intermittent where they, will go out of print pretty frequently once they come out. So I think we mentioned that on a episode about a year ago, maybe or so. But I got to think if this is Image, they'll be in stock pretty regularly now.
Back up on 59, East of West #43. This is the first issue of the last story arc for this title. Okay. So they're soliciting it as the last story arc. So if you've been reading East of West, definitely want to pick that up. My next thing's on 70.
If you have, I don't know where you've been getting it because it ain't been here.
Go ahead, 70. Did you read any of this?
I did. I like it. I don't.
Okay, which one are we talking about?
Die.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I read the first
not
issue.
the Roman numerals.
Yes. No, I would. That was good too.
Yeah. I don't know anything about it though.
Oh, okay.
Specifically, I mean, the art looks great. No, Die is it's been fun. It's not been as good as I hoped it would be because I like Kieran Gillen and I love the concept. The high concept, if you don't know, is essentially if you are familiar with the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon from the 80s.
Yes,
well, that's what it is.
It's a grown-up version of that.
Yep,
yeah, it's a grown-up version of that.
It is that, but mean. So, but it's been fun, and I do feel like this is again one of those things where you're totally going to see this made into a Netflix show or something in the next couple of years. Because if anything was just tailor-made for, ported over to Netflix, it's something like this. Feels like it'll scratch the same itch as Stranger Things for a lot of people.
I like the first issue quite a bit. So, yeah.
Is it as good as Die, 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 though?
I don't know.
It is 1/3 as good. That's the math.
If 1/3 is 3 times as good, then yeah. I didn't care for Die, Die, Die.
No, I didn't either, but I wasn't going to get too mean about it.
Now, the 1975, which is the Roman numeral book, I did read the first issue of that. Cabbie in New York with an enchanted tire wrench. Yes. So, and actually, the first issue was actually really, really good. So, yeah. But I was surprised it was only a 3-issue story arc, and I don't know if it's that's the entire story, or if that's just the first story arc. I'm not for sure there. There's not any 4th issue solicited, so maybe that is the complete trade. So, I'm definitely picking this up as well.
On 72, Middle West by Scotty Young, not art by Scotty Young, but written by him, is really good. If you could see me, I'm doing the French Chef finger kiss. It's been very good. It has almost like a fairy tale feel to it. It's about a kid running away from home, and it's sort of like casual magic just slipping into the world. He has a talking fox that helps him along the way, and he doesn't question that. But it's not like a fantasy world where this stuff is normal, and I like that. I like the childlike sense of he doesn't ask why the fox can talk and is leading him. And so, he hitchhikes, gets on a train like it's the Depression or something. But so it's sort of a mashup fairy tale world, but I really enjoyed it so far, and it's just gorgeous, to be honest.
Well, Matt has better taste in comics than I do because I wasn't a huge fan of the first issue.
Really?
Yeah. So
I thought the first issue felt fine. It didn't feel real deep, but I thought it looked gorgeous, and I liked the idea.
Yeah, it looked
the
good.
later issues I thought really took off, and it's sort of a really crazy world. Something different and interesting to look at has happened in every issue, which I know sounds like a really vague way to describe it, but I mean, honestly, just showing me something new in a comic book I haven't seen is fairly difficult when you buy this many books. So.
Yeah, it didn't grab me. If we're talking about spending $4 to $6 in books every single month, man, if it doesn't grab you all the first issue, I just wait. So maybe I'll give it a shot later.
On 93, we've got the next issue of the Section Zero by Carl Kiesel and Tom Grummett. I just want to point out that they either have wrapped up or they're currently doing a Kickstarter for what looks like a prequel series.
Oh, yeah.
Too. So it's a Section Zero, like 1950 something year.
Yeah.
So, but it looked pretty good, and I assume that's why they're reprinting this stuff now too. Maybe he's trying to get that going again.
I'm going to throw back for a couple of things on 84, Gideon Falls, which is by Jeff Lemire, who this will probably become a recurring theme as we talk. There's a couple of writers that I will basically buy any book they put out, and Jeff Lemire is one of them. And this is, if it's not my favorite thing he puts out right now, it's really freaking close. But it's Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino. It is really hard for me to describe it to you without just spoiling a bunch of stuff. But it is a murder mystery about a priest in a small town, and some supernatural happenings and questioning whether this is happening or you're going crazy. And it's been really, really good.
And it's coinciding with another guy who's a scavenger and finding all these things and they think he's crazy.
Yeah,
and
they think he's mentally ill. He's trying to put garbage together to build something, and so all these plots, these two different plots kind of come together, and there's flashbacks to the past and crimes that were unsolved, and to go back to where we started with Image, it's been optioned by Netflix. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah, so they're
and it is good too. I've read the first trade of it, and I really enjoyed it. So the second trade's not out yet, but I'm looking forward to the second trade on that too. So.
And then on 87, I'm taking a complete shot in the dark here because the first issue doesn't come out until next week.
Little Bird.
But Little Bird is on the shelf. It has gotten a lot of praise online from a lot of creators whose work I really respect. So if nothing else, I will say that artwork is gorgeous. It looks like, oh man, I'm totally going to blank his name. It's not Mignola, but it's the guy who used to do
Mobius.
No,
Okay.
it's I will think of it.
Early Joe Quesada.
No, I will think
Jack
of it.
Kirby.
But it is very, very detailed.
Steve
I will
Ditko.
think of his name. It'll come to me. It's the guy who did Shaolin Cowboy.
Oh, Jeff Darrow.
Jeff Darrow. There you go. I remember there was somebody who used to come in the shop that always pronounced his name wrong, and I couldn't remember what it was, and he used to call him Geoff Darrow. And I never corrected that guy because it was just such a sweet mispronunciation of the name. Like, you've never seen Jeff spelled that way before? God love you. You call him whatever you want. He really loved Geoff Darrow.
Anybody else got anything else in Image? Or?
I got a couple of things, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm not to 104. So
90 is Paper Girls. It is the almost beginning of the end. If you haven't read Paper Girls, it's fantastic. It is exactly what it sounds like it's about. It's about a bunch of middle school girls who run a paper route together, but it's about time travel, and it's about people coming back from the future to try and correct timelines. It's set in the 80s. It's awesome. It feels like it was derivative of Stranger Things, but it's not. It's just one of those weird synchronicities where things lined up, and but if you love Stranger Things, I'd say there's an almost 0% chance that you won't like Paper Girls. It's really, really good. And it's by Brian Vaughan, who is the guy who did Y the Last Man and who does Saga. So, and who, weirdly, was announced today as writing the Mobile Suit Gundam movie.
Huh. Okay.
It's kind of came out of left field, right?
I'm actually reading Y the Last Man now.
Yeah.
I just
in
started
prep
it.
for the TV show?
I didn't even know there was a TV show. So
Yeah,
okay.
the casting's
all
out.
right. Okay, all right. So,
Yeah, it looks really good. I think it's on FX.
oh, okay.
Okay, what was the next page somebody
Mine's
had on?
104. So
Okay, yep, you're before me.
okay, you got it marked too, Dan. You go ahead.
Well, we've got the next Stranger Things miniseries. This is just Stranger Things 6. We weren't too thrilled when we reviewed the first issue on here. But, again, maybe they're giving some more leeway in what they can do here.
Since it's not taking place at the same time, maybe they
Right.
can actually
So-
tell a real story here.
It is written by Jodie Hauser, who's pretty good.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that she'll be allowed to just, really tell a
Yeah,
real story,
exactly.
but
I mean, that's kind of always the double-edged sword with licensed books.
yeah, you can only do so much.
Yeah.
and-
And then it's like, because the Duffer Brothers probably have a pretty tight
Right.
grip on that.
Right. If they were going to really reveal a secret that mattered, it'd probably be in the show.
Yeah.
But I think they've kind of pitched it online that this is sort of like some extra lore that may never have time to get into the show.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's why they approved the mini, was to like flesh out some things that are in the story Bible, but they probably won't ever get around to doing. My next one's on 111.
108.
Okay, go ahead.
108, just the trade for William Gibson's Alien 3 treatment. That's solicited this month.
I almost marked that, but I realized I had nothing to say other than it's really good. You should check it out. I love the Alien franchise in general, but I think like a lot of people, I think 3 is a flawed movie. It's got its moments, but it's kind of a big old mess, and it's really interesting to see what could have been. If you don't know, this was the original script of what was one of the original scripts for Alien 3.
Well, the attraction to me has always just been William Gibson.
Yeah, well, that's what I told Mike.
Yeah.
When I wanted the poster, he was like, "You want it?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's got Alien and William Gibson. I want both those things." My next one's on 111, which, again, I don't have anything here to really deep to add other than Black Hammer's fantastic, and you should buy them.
So how much can Jeff Lemire write before he starts slipping it?
So he's not up to like Cullen Bunn level where
Yeah.
he's writing a dozen books a week or something.
That was the
sometimes.
exact same name I was going to use.
I mean, like, they go on about how comic page rates are not good, but Cullen Bunn must be doing quite well for himself because it's like you have a dozen jobs. And I mean, he puts out so many books, and it's not just for Marvel. He does like, I don't know, eight Marvel books, and he's got easily that many in the back half of the catalog too. He's got Boom and Aftershock and.
And I
So-
think his writing suffers.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cullen Bunn's quite good, but the more books he writes, the less good it is. Did you ever read Harrow County?
No.
Harrow County is fantastic.
Okay.
I hate to keep saying this over and over. It's also been optioned for a show. But Harrow County
Everything
great.
is now.
Yeah, Harrow County's hardcover's in there, but Black Hammer is great. If you don't know what Black Hammer is, it is almost like a love letter to the golden age of comics, and they are now moving into the Silver Age too. So there are like analogs for all of these classic Golden and Silver Age characters, and so Quantum Age, which is not solicited in this catalog, is their version of the Legion of Superheroes, which has been really, really cool. But this one is Black Hammer 45, which is a throwback to the Golden Age, and then Age of Doom, which is the main book, if you will, that's going on right now. But it's fantastic. Pick up the trades. Harrow County's on the next page. How about that?
I don't have anything to 135. So.
I've got 113, which is that I'm going to buy Last Stop on the Red Line because Last Stop on the Red Line is a fantastic title for a murder mystery. And I feel like I can't not buy that.
On 119, we've got Usagi Yojimbo, the hidden hardcover, collecting that last series. I think this will probably be the last thing we see from Dark Horse for Usagi because he's jumping ship to IDW.
And did you see it's going to be in color now? I don't really know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I kind of love Stan Sakai's work in black and white.
Yeah, and it's kind of what you're used to.
Yeah.
You know.
I always tell people when, like, I talk about efficiencies, just in general, sometimes like in business at work, we talk about efficiency, and I show people panels of Stan Sakai Usagi Yojimbo art because he has drawn exactly the number of lines you have to tell the story properly. And in some cases, he really details stuff up, but he doesn't draw a single line more than he has to get the story done right. And I know that sounds like I'm being snarky about it, but I'm not. I appreciate when you look at how he lays out a panel that he overdraws what needs overdrawn, and he leaves out what no one will pay attention to anyway. Move on. You know, it's really great. And I don't know that I'm going to like it as much in color.
Yeah, not everything needs to be in color.
Yeah. Except Casablanca. We're going to get that going, right? Ted Turner over here, recoloring Usagi. Black and white.
So 135. I'm not even a drinker, but this Hellboy Deluxe Flask set looks really cool. It's got a faux leather, faux leather cover for the flask and two little mini shot glasses. And
if we could only get some fire water to go in there.
Yeah, right? Thanks a lot, State of Illinois. They won't let us have it. I tried really hard to get that cinnamon whiskey, and it isn't able to be shipped to Illinois.
People probably think I'm a drunk. Every time I cross state lines, I go into liquor stores to see if they sell hell water.
What do they have? You got Hellboy whiskey here?
Yeah, Hellboy whiskey.
You better not be in Missouri. That'll get you run out of town in Missouri. We don't talk about hell around here, son.
We got that heavenly whiskey.
I got Jesus water.
I don't have anything till 174 now, so
I have 149. Not that I'm going to hammer anything real hard, but I buy all of these books for my nephew, who is 10, and it's like the perfect thing to buy for a kid if you want them to read superhero books. It's exactly what your memory tells you Marvel books were when you were growing up. And they're all standalone stories that are self-contained. They're superheroes doing superhero things, but you don't have to buy an infinite number of books. You can just pick one and go with it. I bought him the Spider-Man just because I thought, a Spider-Man book. He had just seen Into the Spider-Verse at the time. I was like, I'm sure he'll love that. And he just ate it up, called me, and told me how much he liked it. He loves Black Panther, so he's getting that too. And if we're getting them all, may as well get them all, right? Avengers as well.
Back on 147, again in IDW now, we've got They Called Us Enemy, a graphic novel by George Takei, kind of about his family's time and an internment camp. So, probably some real light reading there.
Yeah. Happy.
On 150,
it's the kind of stuff that should be in a library and will probably get objected to by somebody in the library. If history taught us anything about great literature, somebody will be offended and try to have it removed.
On 153, we've got Star Wars Adventures Annual 2019 featuring Jackson apparently right there on the cover. So there's your second appearance of Jackson.
You need a green rabbit in a spacesuit. Got you covered.
Nobody asked for. On 174.
Marvel Master... Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead and we'll just come back.
Okay, so Marvel Masterworks pinups, just a bunch of the, I guess, like the one-page art from, the early Marvel days. Got art from Kirby and Ditko, Steranko, Heck, Byrne, Wally Wood, Romita Sr., John Severin. So, yeah, I wonder if they're going to be easy to pull out, I guess is the question. If somebody wanted to display them or not. So.
Right. That's really cool.
I'm going to bounce back to 161 to also IDW and say that somehow I didn't know that there is a tie-in comic for Glow, the Netflix series.
Oh, yeah.
And am I the only person at the table that's watched that show?
Oh, no, I've watched it.
Okay, great. It's friggin' brilliant.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm definitely getting that first issue.
Yeah, I didn't know, so that was actually part of the reason I marked it was to remind myself to tell Mike I need him to go back and order me 1 and 2. Gotcha. It's written by Tini Howard, who's pretty good, and man, it's got a great cover of Machu Picchu on there. So. Pretty happy about that. My wife will also be very happy about that. She doesn't read a lot of comics, but if I tell her there's a Glow comic, she's going to read it. On 169, if you told me that there was a Clue comic from IDW, I would have made a mouth fart at you and said I don't want that. But then I saw the art, and it looks very, very indie, right? Like This is like Billy Corgan Boy Genius style of like indie art, and now
Billy Corgan or Jimmy Corgan?
Jimmy Corgan. Sorry, I said Billy Corgan, didn't I? Yeah, well, you know me. I gotta get my Billy Corgan Boy Genius. I'm glad that's recorded for posterity.
Can you bleep that?
You just have to give me the minute mark.
No, I want it to stay in actually, because that's not the only time I've said the wrong name and been like, what did I just say? But
Billy did it in the study with a pumpkin.
I remember one time when I was working here, I had just been reading something about Aaron Magruder that used to do Boondocks, and then we were talking about JFK, and I said something about the Magruder film, and somebody goes, Zapruder film! And I was like, what did I say? And he's like, you said Magruder. And I was like, oh, you know what I meant. I was like, I was just reading about Aaron Magruder like before I came to work. So, yes, Jimmy Corgan or Billy Corgan, whatever. He might have been a boy genius. I don't know. He was probably bald then, too. So, but anyway, it actually looks like it's stunningly indie art style. And now I'm really conflicted and think I might have to buy a freaking Clue comic book. I don't know how I feel about that. On the next page, 171, there's this book called Road of Bones, which is a fantastic title, and it's about communism, the Siberian Gulag. And I think if there's any number, there's no maximum number of things to remind people of how terrible communism was for the world. So I'm all right with that. What's your next thing?
194.
Ooh, mine's 191, so that everybody can have confirmed for them. Yes, I am going to buy Red Sonja and Vampirella Meet Betty and Veronica. If you wondered, is he going to buy it? Yeah, I'm going to buy it.
There was never a question in my mind.
Yeah, and do I need that Francavilla variant? Of course.
Of course.
Well, you cannot get the variant, and you can get the pin set they're doing.
Dude, don't laugh. I looked at the pin set on the next page and thought Mona would totally take those Betty and Veronica pins. They're really nice. But on 194, if you haven't watched the Netflix show Altered Carbon, which was awesome. Has anybody else watched it?
Oh, yeah.
I've watched it. I thought it was okay.
I liked it a lot. I thought it was. How much did you watch? You watched the whole thing?
I watched the whole thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought it got better as it went.
It did get better, but it didn't blow me away, So
I liked it a lot.
And this, I had this marked as well, just for somebody who wants to be a completist and get all the Altered Carbon stuff they can. But I'm not super jacked about the artwork on the cover of this.
No, it looks like a late '90s comic.
Indie book.
And I say this as a guy who kind of likes '90s comics, but this doesn't look like the greatest art. But it is Altered Carbon, so maybe it will read really well if you're a fan of it. It is written by Richard K. Morgan, who writes the novels.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's probably just an adaptation of his stuff. Although it says an original story, I take it back. So yeah, I mean that you got to.
Have they talked about a second season on Netflix?
It's going to be animated, though, right?
Oh, is it?
I heard that they were going to have an animated story.
I remembered hearing that it was confirmed for a second season, but I know they're recasting because
it doesn't matter.
No spoilers. Like they need to recast some roles because of the basic nature of the plot.
Right.
People jump bodies in it if you haven't watched it, so you can totally recast it. It makes sense.
Sci-fi noir. I enjoyed it a lot.
I did too.
I mean, I didn't hate it, but I just didn't like. I'm not ready for the next season. I mean, it's fine. Whenever it happens, it happens.
I'm ready for the next Lost in Space too.
I was just thinking that. Too.
Yeah, right.
When are we getting that?
Exactly.
I don't know. Are they doing another one?
They're supposed to be.
Oh, okay. I hadn't heard anything one way or the other.
So right after that, on page 196, we got something for the ladies. Sweet Valley High graphic novel, Academic All-Star. So if you're a fan of those books, maybe check that out.
My next thing's not till 250, so you guys go for a while.
On 201, I just want to point out we've got the James Bond Origin, which I guess is ongoing. It's been pretty good. We've got artist.
That is a heck of an origin if it has to be an ongoing.
I know, right? But
it's an origin that never ends.
Yeah. So we've got artist Ibrahim Mustafa coming onto the book now, and he is a fan of James Bond. He did the Solstice one-shot a while back. On his website, though, he's also done a really nice series of prints where he's done sort of a stylized poster for each one of the movies.
That's where I've heard his name before.
Yeah. And so it's got some really nice ones on there that he's done for the different films over the years. My next thing's not till 254.
My next thing is 232. Not to throw anything out because this is only issue 2, so I haven't read issue 1. But Faithless by Brian Azzarello, covers by Paul Pope, and illustrated by Maria Lovett. It is apparently, we'll keep this family friendly, quite mature readers. And I guess it's about sex and Satanism. Ooh. And
so it's The Discipline. What was that book from Image a while back? Where it was yeah, it was a big eye opener whenever you read it for the first time. It's like, whoa, what did I just buy?
Well, here is how adult this one is. There is one of those, the way Sex Criminals from Image used to have, which, by the way, digression, Sex Criminals, despite the title, making an embarrassing thing for you to buy, is a fantastic book. It's not about what it sounds like. It's a really funny title, but it's not a smart title. We'll say that. But I'm going to buy Faithless, but it has the way that Sex Criminals used to have. It has a XXX variant that's polybagged, so I guess it's that level of mature.
Okay.
Quite mature, if you will. But Brian Azzarello writing about mature readers, occult stuff. Yeah, I'll buy that book.
250?
Yeah.
250. All right, so 250 from Abstract Studios. We got 5 years, #1. So people have speculated for a long time that Terry Moore's series of books are all set in the same world. I think he confirmed that a little while back. Now we're going to get a book that has, Motor Girl and Echo and
if you're asking yourself why
Strangers.
Kachu is standing next to a gorilla in a t-shirt.
T-shirt, yeah, exactly.
That is
So
why.
we got and Rachel Rising, which is my favorite of his books. So yeah, 5 years, #1 on page 250. So yep, and I finally started reading Strangers in Paradise. Got through the first 2 volumes, so it's actually surprisingly good and not what I expected.
On that same page, I cannot think of anything more ill-advised than Dave Sim writing a book called Cerebus Woman. As a guy who is famously not real friendly with the ladies, shall we say. He has some opinions, and they weren't acceptable 20-something years ago, and they're less so now.
I'm sure the internet won't have any opinions on that.
Well, that's what I was going to say, was I'm sure you won't be able to find an opinion on Twitter about this one at all. I mean, okay, man, like, if you're just looking to pick a fight, Dave, just say I'm looking to pick a fight.
Maybe he's grown up.
I don't know. He's doing this one all on his own. No Gerhard. And Gerhard stuck through some really crazy Dave Sim rants. Although, for all I know, Gerhard might be dead. I might be saying this, and Dan's going to be like, he's been dead for 10 years, Matt. He died with Billy Corgan, Boy Genius.
268 is my next thing.
Well, on 254 from Action Lab, we've got Voracious Appetite for Destruction #1. Just real quick here, Chef Nate Wilner's dinosaur hunts in an alternate dimension reignited his passion for cooking and turned his life around. But traveling through time and space for prehistoric meat has consequences he never imagined. He's damaged another universe, fractured the trust of the people he cares for most, and unleashed a flesh-hungry monster on his hometown. So, I mean, that sounds like a pretty good intro to me.
And by a writer-artist, no less.
Yeah.
This is a passion project for Jason Ward. And I'm not going to lie to you, I like his pitch. I'm not buying your book, I'm sorry, Jason, but I like your pitch. I am going to buy on 258.
Yes.
And Dan and I were talking about this before the show started. I'm going to buy Killer Groove, a story set in the 70s, and it says something about crummy bar jobs and a whiskey-soaked PI friend. Yeah, I'm going to buy a book called Killer Groove, because that title and that concept is too good not for me to give them my $4.
Oh, on 268, we're finally getting the Wrong Earth trade, so if you had trouble finding that second issue and never completed your run, here you go.
On the same page is Goon, Bunch of Old Crap, which wins the title for my favorite, wins the award for my favorite title. I read an interview with Powell online where he said that this is the stuff he did before the book was with Dark Horse. So it's the very rough, very indie stuff where he still really hadn't even had a good concept of where he wanted to go with the property. But he said he gets asked a lot for reprints of this. The stuff was reprinted at Dark Horse, I think, back in the day, but it's out of print now. So he repackaged it.
Some of these are pretty pricey too on the back market.
They are, and I'm going to take a moment to brag and say I own all of those issues,
yeah.
and I bought them from Eric Powell at a con.
That's my favorite thing about being in a comic shop. One of them is the guys that take such pride in I own that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's and it's one of the places that you can be that actually is a point of jealousy. You know? Oh, you've got those.
When I worked here, and Goon was selling fairly well for Dark Horse, and people would go on about, I wish I could get those ones from Avatar, and I would just quietly slip in, I own those. Yeah. And they're signed.
I would like to see that with a mutual friend of ours who has passed, Mike Gibbons. Just the swell of his chest, being able to
one of his greatest thrills.
Hear a conversation across the room. I own those. You know, like that. Totally unrelated people.
And what do you say back to it?
Right.
Thanks.
Right.
He just wanted you to know he had it.
Oh, yeah.
He was very happy that you knew.
That's not what I
was
say in my
happier
head.
that you knew he owned it than he was that he owned it. He just wanted you to know. Frankly, sometimes I would want to ask him, do you produce it? Produce it, Michael.
Screenshot or it didn't happen.
That's not what I say in my head when someone tells it. On 273 from what is this? American Mythology. We've got the Mark of Zorro 1949 edition. Apparently, this is reprinting the first Zorro comic from 4-Color. Back in the day. So again, I've kind of been skipping over this American Mythology stuff with the Zorro, but I'll probably pick that up. Just because that's probably a book I'll never get.
I also want to point out how great that red, white, and blue eagle with the Zorro costume next to it is.
Topical.
I want a book about that guy.
On 277, Amberley Publishing here is looking out for Mike No with My Little Ponies collectible. So a reference book.
Right.
So sort of cataloging some of the old toys and things in there. So there you go, Mike.
Well, I can finally know what it is I own. Thanks for the reference.
On 283, am I excited that they retitled the book Archie and Sabrina? Yes, I am, because I love my Archie comics and I love Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Is this a mini?
It is. So what it is that Nick Spencer's run, their big twist when he took over was that they have Sabrina in the Riverdale. Sabrina, if you don't know, lives in Greendale. And which is like the sister town to Riverdale. Sabrina transfers to Riverdale, and she and Archie have been dating all summer on the sly. And it has a lot of Betty and Veronica trying to figure out why they haven't seen Archie and where he's been. And it's because Archie's been making out with a witch all summer. And so I guess they are moving there.
Well, I'm sure.
Yeah. Also, she has magic, so it can end however she wants at the end, probably. People turned into newts.
But this is taking place in the monthly right now? Or?
Yeah. So it actually, they list it as Archie and Sabrina 1, but then if you look down, it says Archie 705. It's just for these 5 issues.
Gotcha.
So I'm super excited about it because I love my Archie comics.
On 312 in the Dynamic Forces section, we've got the, I guess, official solicit here for the Detective Comics 1000 variant by Dan Jurgens and Kevin Nolan, sort of to go along with their Action Comics 1000. I was looking at Newsarama the other day, and they show they are up to 80 variants for Detective Comics 1000.
I want to bounce back to 308 and point something out for Mike, which this is one of
Why?
Well, this is one of those moments where you should probably be aware this is coming out because it's going to be on the news and people are going to come in and ask about it. From Devil's Due, the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez book. If you have seen that on the news, anything, and there's been plenty of stories about that, that is the book. If you have not seen the fun in the sense that it's like, oh boy, here we go, Devil's Due famously doesn't pay their creators on time. And so somebody stirred up a bit of a ruckus on Twitter by telling her, I think it's great that you're getting this comic, not to take anything away from you, but I thought maybe as a workers' rights kind of person, you should know that there are a lot of unpaid freelancers from this company. And so then it turned into a whole kerfuffle that other people started chiming in and saying, yes,
I didn't get paid.
I haven't been paid.
Too.
Some people. I see what you did there. Oh, Mike, no, bringing the topicality. But it turned into, yes, like a little bit of a Me Too thing. There were somebody who said that he hadn't been paid for 6 years. So I don't know how that'll have an ending to it or anything, or if it'll even be addressed. But anyway, that's something. If you are going to want that, because there are going to be people who are going to want it for the historical nature, probably a thing that you should let Mike know about because it's not really a normal stocking kind of thing.
Nope, exactly.
And again, how much is Devil's Due even doing anymore?
Well, not much, and so I guess that's sort of what people said is that they basically resurface whenever Josh Blaylock runs out of money, they built creators out of it. Somebody said in that Twitter thread, my book just got signed by Devil's Due. I wish I'd known this, and I thought, oh man, sucks for you.
It's weird that Tim Seeley's on it though, then, because
Tim Seeley has a long running attachment to Devil's Due. That's where Hack Slash was published for a while.
Yeah.
So maybe he's getting paid because he's like a legacy creator for them.
On 315 from Famous Monsters of Filmland, we have the Red Sun Kaiju T-shirt and the Red Sun Kaiju beanie, which are kind of cool designs there. But
that's why I leaned over. I was like, with the what now?
Some random monster on there, I guess.
Random.
Whether you love Gorgo, Gamera, Ghidorah, or Varan the Unbelievable. I feel like there's one they're leaving out.
No, I don't think so. I think that's pretty much all of them, right? There's something about one of those guys is a moth. Isn't there one of those? Yeah. That doesn't look like him.
What else we got? On 324, we've got Star Trek The Next Generation USS Enterprise NCC 1701D Illustrated Handbook. with schematics and sort of plans of the ship, it looks like, and there's a version that comes with a miniature of the ship too. On see, what's this, 328, we've got DC Comics Detective Comics, kind of repetitive, The Complete Covers Volume 2.
It's actually extra repetitive, right?
Yeah.
Because it's Detective Comics, Detective Comics.
Yeah. 367.
358 as of point out, issue 50 of Rick and Morty. Who would have thought that could have made it 50 issues? Right. But yeah, sure enough.
It's the only place you're getting Rick and Morty these days, right?
Like I said, I think so, right now. And I'm like one of the people who's never ever watched the show, but.
I haven't either.
Okay.
You're at 50. We're batting 500
there
right
now.
Yeah. I'm totally down.
250. That's where we are. Because I've watched a half an episode. I tried to watch with my wife, and I got a look, and I thought, this isn't for her. And she's very geeky. She'll watch a whole lot of stuff with me, but she was like, this isn't funny. And so I turned it off rather than inflict it on her.
No, go watch them. They're good.
I think I probably would like it.
We've got the Karate Kid Pop Classics Illustrated Storybook. So it looks like a kid's book of the Karate Kid story. On 368, there's Invasion 1984, which is a reprint of an old British take on War of the Worlds that apparently is claims here influenced creators such as Garth Ennis. So that might be something worth checking out.
Wasn't that? I think that might have been. Was that published through 2000 AD or something back in the day?
I would think so, but I don't know for sure.
Say who did it?
Yeah, that.
Oh yeah, John Wagner. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I was just saying, I think it's either John Wagner or Alan Grant. Yep.
On 374 we've got Sham #1, Sham Comics, from it looks like Tim Fuller's the writer and various artists. So I guess what he's doing is sort of a Mystery Science Theater take on Golden Age public domain comics. So I think he's kind of re-scripting some of the stories and things in here. Could be a funny time. Not the first time anyone's done that with indie books, but something to check out.
Well, there's a wealth of material you can use too, which is really a great
there's
idea.
Getting to be more and more, right.
Right.
Every day there's more and more.
Yeah.
Literally.
Right. On 385 from Tomorrow's, we've got back issue number 113, where it looks like they're focusing on the 30th anniversary of Tim Burton's Batman movie.
I'm going to bounce back to 383 from Titan. Is the philosophy of Deadpool.
I keep envisioning this as one of those Wisdom of Lobo books where it's blank on the inside.
Well, that's what I said. I feel like this should be 2 pages long. Page 1 should say shoot stuff, and page 2 should say eat chimichangas.
Or see page 1.
Yeah, or that too. Yeah. Or page 2 should say the end.
The end, yeah.
But what it is, I flipped past and I made a snarky comment to myself and thought, ha ha ha, I'll say that on the podcast. But then I looked at it to see what it was.
The whole reason why he's here, folks.
What it was. It's actually kind of a good idea. It's a little bit. Like you said, those Wisdom of Lobo things, but if you've ever seen those collections of like the Wisdom of Homer Simpson or the Wisdom of the Comic Book Guy, there's a lot of Simpsons ones, but there's like some Darth Vader motivational things or whatever. It's one of those books, right? It is a collection of original stuff that's supposed to be musings by Wade, but there's also reprint panels from Deadpool Comics. So if you have a friend, and don't we all have a friend who loves Deadpool but doesn't read comics, $15, not a bad thing to be like a gag gift or a fun little thing.
I wouldn't encourage it on anybody.
On 386, again from Tomorrow's, we've got the Batman Companion, which sort of looks at the Silver and Bronze Age time period of the character. I bought this when it first came out. It's been out of print for a while. If you're a Batman fan, definitely pick this up. We got a lot of interviews with old creators, some who have passed since this came out, and they don't care anymore. They're telling you what happened. They're telling you what the beefs are. Nobody speaks too highly of Bob Kane in this.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, but just some real honesty, that you don't get a lot anymore from creators, about what happens behind the scenes. So it's definitely worth checking out just for the sort of historical aspects of it.
On the same page, Modern Masters Mark Schultz. I just love Mark Schultz. That's all I'm throwing out. He's a great artist. One of my favorite artists of all time is Al Williamson, and Mark Schultz is about as close as you can get in the modern era. On the next page, on 388, I'm going to go ahead and represent for my famous Valiant fandom and say that I am so freaking excited for Fallen World. I shouldn't be. It probably won't be good. I don't know. I'll probably be disappointed. That you give me cybernetic ninjas in an alternate future, and I'm going to buy it.
Well, they deserve to be mentioned, if for no other reason than on 389, there is a special Fallen World 1-5 bundle only available to comic shops.
Yes.
And you have to pre-order them like now. So if you want to get that full series limited to just comic book shops, put me in for an order because I want one. Oh. So yeah.
This is
I'm never sure, man.
Yes. Okay, I'm saying please order me.
We've had some experiences at the store where you got to
the Fallen World 1 through 5 pre-order edition bundle. I'll go ahead and prepay for it if it's a big deal.
This is a thing that Valiant actually does fairly often for their bigger books. They started it with Exo Manowars relaunch 3 years ago or so, and they do this fairly often. That you can get pre-order bundles that have a variant cover that's only available through the pre-order, and then they have like script pages and sketch pages and stuff at the end, and some extra things. And they don't collect those in the trades either. They just it's only for the pre-order copies.
Yeah, I think all 5 issues are a special cover, and it's the is it the David Mack? It's David Mack, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he did some early Daredevil covers that were really good.
Yeah, if you've ever seen David Mack art, you can't think of things that would look better from him than cyborg ninjas in the future.
So it's kind of the return of David Mack. Yeah. Thank you. On 418.
Hold on. 393 again. Valiant Ninja K, excuse me, joins the $1 books. So they're reprinting the first issue of Ninja K for $1. Now go ahead.
Well, we also have some Ninjak in the dollar books here too.
The ones I don't need,
guys. So in the manga section on page 418 from Udon, we've got the Art of Darksiders 2 hardcover. So if you want to know what Joe Madureira's been up to, he's been working on games. So there's probably some cool designs and kind of character sketches and things in there. If you're a fan of his work or the games, might be something cool to check out. We're ready to flip.
Yeah.
Yep. Got anything else?
I'm done with that side.
All right.
See if I can get to that side.
Going over to
swipe. Going to
the merchandise section.
I got something on 37. If I can find 37.
Well, on 16, we've got the DC Comics Gallery Deluxe Dark Knight Returns Batman and Robin PVC diorama. Mm-hmm. So a little more than the PV stuff usually is, but again, you got two figures and kind of a rooftop base there. That looks pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Page 19 there, of course, is the Marvel Comic Premiere Green Goblin resin statue. So this is one of their higher ends, but still reasonably priced for a resin statue, $150. Nice Green Goblin sculpted by Claiborne Moore, who is pretty fantastic. So going to be getting one of those for the shop, so check it out when it's here.
On 23, we've got the DC Comics Vinnie Mates vinyl figures. And here we've got a Batman Damned, Batman White Knight, and Batman Who Laughs that you can get, which are all appropriate for that style.
It doesn't need to be censored.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe they'll be the variant.
There'll be like a little paint splotch that comes out in the wrong spot on that
really
first
dark.
one. Yeah.
I think if you squint, you can see it.
If you hold it up in ultraviolet light, look, there it is.
You guys didn't get to chasing Phillips? I got an eBay and I tracked one down.
Page 34, Eagle Moss and their ever-expanding lines is the bus line this time. A couple more offerings from the 66 TV show with a particularly good Cesar Romero.
Yeah, that looks really nice.
It really is nice.
Can you see his mustache?
I'm sure they can.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Oh, can you? Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. I think they're pretty good about putting that on the merchandise.
Okay.
Yeah.
People expect it at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, page 37, we have the DC Comics by Jim Shore figurines. I don't understand this.
Yeah.
Jim Shore is some guy who does Christmas things that should only be like limited to QVC.
He does Disney stuff.
And he does some Disney stuff too, but it's like I'm terrified my mother is going to learn about this series and I'm going to get all of these.
Well, let me tell you, my wife knows about him. We've got a whole lot of Disney stuff in our... Not that I should... no, let's not make it sound like it's just my wife. I'm not a Disney fan. But we do have some stuff that was solely for her.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I really wish you hadn't mentioned that, because now I kind of want those Jim Shore DC figures. And I'm like, do I need six $60 figures?
Yeah.
No, I don't. But do I want them? Yeah, I do.
I don't think they look that good. I don't know.
I feel like they should have shown
Real
better
soft.
pictures of
Yeah.
them.
That Aquaman sucks.
Yeah, the
rest
Aquaman's
of them-
really bad. His eyes are
And
just...
like how
okay. How big are they is going to be the real thing, right?
Okay, well here's
8.5.
7,
Yeah.
8.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, so action figure, a little bigger action figure scale. So right next to that, though, we've got the Wonder Woman
Yes.
Linda Carter Cape variant maquette, which looks pretty nice. It looks
Yeah.
like a decent likeness, too.
Yeah, this is Tweeterhead, and of course, I'm sure it's sculpted by Trevor Grove, who's about the best likeness guy in the sculpting business these days. Did a lot of stuff for Sideshow. And right below it is the classic DC Heroes Green Lantern. I'm sure this is in their Superpowers line. They haven't mentioned that, but again, it's Tweeterhead, so it is money. I mean, they're not cheap, but they're really one of my go-to statue people, as I've been saying. They're
For
just
how
really
big
nice.
that is and the base,
Yeah.
that's really not that bad.
Yeah, and the
although please note, scheduled to ship in January 2020.
Yeah,
wow.
and you'll be lucky to get it then.
Yeah.
But the thing that does concern me about that is that base super cool, but those clear resins are really not very durable.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
there's a lot of chance for some breakage in that.
Do you get
but I'll be taking a shot.
Do you get marbling in that stuff?
No, it is crystal
Is it?
clear. Yeah,
Okay, that's
it's
nice.
pretty amazing. Yeah.
On 41, we've got Marvel Legends 6-inch Ultimate Action figures, and we have Deadpool with his scooter and Professor X with his 90s gold chair,
Yeah.
which apparently looks like it comes in two pieces, and you have to snap it together, I guess. But have they done a Marvel Legends Professor X with the chair before? With that chair?
I don't.
There was a Professor
There
X
was-
chair something last previews, or you had
Oh,
something.
yeah.
and
Well,
it was-
there's the
that's
statues.
those-
Okay, the
that came
statue.
out.
Okay, it was
The
like
only thing I
really
can think of
big.
is back in the day when Toy Biz made the figures. I think there was a Professor X in the chair, but it was like
Oh,
all
back
one,
in the 90s.
yeah, like all in
yeah.
one piece.
Right.
But that's
but
the
like
only one I can
Marvel
remember.
Legends scale.
No, I don't
'cause
think so. Not
all
the
the movie
Legends one.
figures had like the more standard wheelchair, or the movie version.
Yeah, I think so.
And then on the
Right
next,
now, there's somebody screaming at their car
Oh,
or
yeah.
whatever. They're like, they totally made one. The Legends line.
deal with
It's exquisite.
after that, we've got the Captain Marvel Legends 6-inch action figures, and the lineup kind of makes sense except for the Gray Gargoyle. Does he have a history with Captain Marvel?
Sure.
Is it just
Yeah,
they
why
needed,
not?
needed another character to pad out that wave? I guess
We-
maybe he's the after credits. Oh man, spoilers!
Oh man.
Ah, they've got to save him for.
Yeah, they should
Dude,
have blacked that
if
one out.
that's a spoiler and he's actually in that comic costume in the movie, I will stand up and applaud. That's fantastic. He's got blue boots and gloves. Yeah.
Yep.
Bring it.
We've got Back Scratching Wharf again on the
Yeah.
next page. Mini Masters figure. On page 49, going into the Funko section. Anybody got anything before that?
I don't
or-
have anything till 102, so
So we've got the
That's where I am
next wave of DC Primal Age action figures,
I like those two.
and these are figures done in sort of the '80s He-Man Barbarian action figure style. The first wave was exclusive to Amazon. Apparently, had a lot of production problems. So they've released them to Target stores now, where they've supposedly fixed these. But now it looks like this wave will be available to most retail outlets and different online stores and things. Whole bunch of pops, of course, on 52 and 53. We've got some new Batman ones coming out for the 80th anniversary. Yeah, we've got like a first appearance and an '89 Michael Keaton version.
Also, I really like that Dr. Seuss, but man, I wish I hadn't learned some things about Dr. Seuss recently. That's all I'm saying.
Well, right above that, we got Colonel Sanders.
Yep.
And again, that's a whole line right there. You could have all the different Colonel Sanders Pops figures now.
yeah.
What do you
We
mean?
could do-
What do you mean different Colonel Sanders?
Right. Well,
I've only seen the real Colonel Sanders.
you have RoboCop Colonel Sanders now.
I do like the Batman rides, the
Yeah.
80th anniversary in the Batmobile, the 50s Batmobile. That's pretty awesome.
On 57, we've got another Rick and Morty Pickle Rick. Again, another kind of pushing what a pop is, I guess.
Yeah.
A pop is anything that's produced by Funko.
Yeah,
That's
things that
it.
somebody will buy. 'Cause they
Page
got
57, the long rumored Office Pops from the Office America Pops. So yeah, we're getting Jim, Pam, Dwight, of course.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
that's
Office
Office.
Space.
Space.
I was like, why is Milton in there?
There you go. It's just like I'm like, why are we choosing to do,
Yeah.
Jim as Dwight before we get a real Jim? And then I realize Office Space. So, never mind.
Never mind. Scratch
Oh
that.
man, Jim.
That will be
Dwight
edited
would
from
be
the
a
from
great
the final
variant.
Wouldn't that be
podcast.
great?
Totally going to be a variant pop, and people are going to freak out. Bears beats. Yeah.
Battlestar Galactica.
Yep.
I know we like to joke about it with Funko in general, but I saw a thing where they were talking to Forbes and claimed to have over 1,000 licenses.
Wow.
So that's not a
I
joke.
believe
That's
it.
real.
Every month when I
would
figure
say-
out how to spend my IRA money on stocks, I think about buying a buttload of Funko. 'Cause it's still pretty cheap, and I think I could buy a lot of Funko right now. And I'm always worried that I'm later going to be like, I took a bath on that Funko stock. Oh, man.
The rumor was that by now they would have gone public or like had some other or like buyout thing.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
I guess it hasn't happened.
I can't believe they only have 1,000 licenses.
Well, they said
As much-
over. They said over.
As much stuff as they put out.
They have one license coming that matters to me. I'm so freaking excited. They are making Cheers Pops, and I must have my Cheers Pops. And it doesn't matter how many times I tweet at them and ask, they just won't give me my Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band Pops. I want them so bad.
Oh, that's got to come, though. You
Yeah,
know
right?
it's coming because have they announced, or I know it's in their files that are hidden away, of like Rolling Stones Pops files.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So,
I mean, like, I
finally
get why
seen
there's
that.
not Beatles Pops or whatever. They're
yeah.
like, I ain't paying for that license. But come on.
They got the, what is it, the Pop Rocks or whatever?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
pop rock.
Every time they announce another wave, I'm like, Springsteen. Oh.
On 92, we've got Godzilla King of the Monsters, SH Monster Arts action figure. So this is from the upcoming movie, and I think this is the first kind of clear look we've had at Godzilla from that.
Godzilla, never heard of him.
Right.
I've only heard of Red Sun Kaiju.
Right. Then on 96 for Scott, we've got the Aquaman Mafex action figure. Really good likeness there of Jason Momoa, the one true Aquaman.
I just threw up a little bit in my mouth.
But again, $120 better be, and I don't think they list scale on there.
I don't know if you listen to, if anybody but me listens to Kevin Smith's Fat Man on Batman / Fat Man Beyond, and that man loved Aquaman. He said it was everything you would want from a movie. And of course, he did sound really, really high when he did his review. And then I kept thinking to myself, how high are you? Because if you were pretty high, I bet Aquaman would be really fun.
Lots
And then
of
the next
colors,
episode,
yeah.
right, look at the colors. Oh my God, look at all those things coming out of the water.
I'm hungry.
He's spinning the trident. There's lava.
Look at the octopus playing the drums.
They're kissing while people die. That's appropriate. But then the next episode, Mark Bernardin was back, and he kind of ripped him a hole over that when he was like, I'll stop ripping on this if you let me rip on Aquaman. And I applauded in my car as I drove. I got something on 102. Well, I think everybody's got something on 102. 102 is the Infinity Gauntlet cookie jar. I bought one of these. No lie, I bought this for my boss for his birthday, and he was so freaking happy about it.
And it's really cool.
And it is. I bought it for
very
him
cool.
not knowing. I had just heard about it. Bleeding Cool ran a thing that was back in stock on Diamond. I think they had done a run of it when Infinity War came out. And it sold out like immediately, and they did a new print run. And Bleeding Cool had a thing. It was like, go to your shop and order it now. I don't know how long it's going to be available. And I texted Mike literally right then, please order this for me right now. And it came in, and my boss loved it. It is sitting on the island in his kitchen right now. But one little caveat for McGeeks: the gems are not in the right order. And I saw it, and it was like, oh man, I hope, because my boss loves Thanos, and I was like, please don't let him notice that the gems are wrong, because I noticed that the gems are wrong.
It'll be your job.
He'll totally notice. No, he would want me to help him take them off and reassemble them, like you're doing a Rubik's Cube and you peel the stickers, like, we're going to make this right. Because the one that's there on the back of the hand is differently sized than this, so you can't even do it. But he didn't notice, and it's really cool. Totally worth your $40, I have to say. Much larger than you'd think it would be,
Yeah,
too.
it is.
Page 102, we have these Marvel felt letterboard wall arts. That's Captain America, Spider-Man, and Iron Man. There's a real simple pattern. You
very
can
graphic.
Now I don't know if it comes with, like, they're supposed to be able to like stick letters on them. It doesn't
Yeah.
say that any letters come with it.
I mean, but those are pretty common because those are like the menu boards
Yeah,
like they have at
yeah.
restaurants and stuff like that, you know.
And then also on 104,
Yeah, they've got
they have it
DC
for they have
counterparts.
4 for DC: Batman, Flash, Superman, and Wonder Woman. So I thought those were kind of neat.
They're very cool.
Yeah, they're not very big though. You would think they would be larger. They're like 13 by 18.
All I thought when I saw those was, man, those would have been really great to have when I was a kid, but then my brother would have just taken them off and badly spelled "you suck" or something on there. Like, every time it would come, it would have been like, eat my farts, you suck, and I'd be like, stop messing with my Batman board.
But this would be kind of cool. I'm thinking about getting some for the store, you know, put like the prices for the supplies.
Oh,
on
that would be
you
cool.
know,
That's a
something
really
like
good
that. Just kind of stuff like that. So,
and then I will come in and make it say, "Eat my farts." Mike will be like, "Matt again,
Richards, Martin, shake my fist skyward."
On 110, we've got Tales from the Crypt Old Witch enamel pin. Have they done any of these before?
No.
Is this the first one?
Because it is the first one I've seen.
Sort of like how they're featured on the cover with them.
That's so cool.
In the circle there.
Yeah, I need that.
I just have a random thing on 108, which is that there is a Magic the Gathering backpack that has organizing pockets. It has internal dividers for Magic cards, and it has the Planeswalker logo on the back. And I don't play Magic anymore, but I did for a long time when I was growing up. When Magic was first being printed, I played for years. And I looked at that and I thought, oh man, if I could go back to 1998, Matt would love that. And then I saw that it's $90, and because I'm almost 40, I thought, I'm not paying $90 for a backpack. But I guess that is what nice backpacks are not cheap, right?
So, get off my lawn.
Yeah. Old man yells at cloud. Also, backpack is $90.
On 113, with the supplies, we've got offered again the DC Comics Starro Justice League box and a Marvel Hulk, by Alex Ross there, which both look pretty nice. On 114, we've got the NES game cartridge coasters and some Super Nintendo ones.
Dude, there is I'm just leaning over on Dan's because I hadn't seen this. There is a ceramic Donkey Kong barrel mug.
That's pretty awesome.
Oh my god, I need that. And the Link Hylian shield thing is fine too, but it just looks like a silver mug. There's no way you'd know what that is. But the big DK on a barrel is great. And if I drank coffee, I would get it. And oh my god, I need those Super Nintendo coasters.
On 119, in the game section, we've got some more Rick and Morty. We've got Operation Rick and Morty Anatomy Park board game. So if you're a fan of that episode,
what I want to know is that game going to have the horrifying thing that none of us realized as a kid, which is that the guy being operated on is wide awake and staring at you.
For sure.
Because I never noticed that as a kid, and somebody pointed that out the other day, and I thought, oh, that's really grim. Like he's staring at me while I pull his ribs out or whatever. Yeah. Really messed up.
I think that's all I had for this catalog.
Well, the only blank covers I saw this time were Batman and the Outsiders 1, Savage Avengers 1, Star Wars 108, and Red Sonja and Vampirella Meet Betty and Veronica 1 also has a blank cover. So
there was some other crazy indie book that I noticed had one, and I don't remember what it was.
Okay. Well, that's not much.
But yeah, I know. And I just thought, that'll be something Scott can bring up.
Yeah. So I missed it. So sorry. So there's one more in there someplace.
Somewhere. So
at least one more in there.
We dare you. All right. Well, I guess that'll do it for the monthly trip through the previews catalog. I hope you enjoyed it. And if there's anything you heard that you want to get more information on or possibly place a pre-order, give us a call here at the store at 618-457-6011. Stop in, of course, 816B East Main Street right here in the heart of Carbondale. Message us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, do all that good stuff. Scott?
Scott Reed. You can find me at birdcomics.com, BURGcomics.com. It's we're recording on, what is today, March 6th?
Yeah, March 6th.
So March 16th, so 10 days from now, I will be at the Dyersburg Comic and Pop Culture Con in Dyersburg, Tennessee. First convention of the year. I'll be set up there, so if you happen to hear this and are in the area, stop by.
And Dan Brown, you can find me online at Detective651 and here at the store on Saturdays.
And Matt Martin, you can find me at Wookiee Copilot on everything, including Xbox Live, frankly. So I think my name is Wookiee Copilot on every single thing. WOOKIEECOPILOT. Not that I'm, soliciting followers. I mean, who's going to join the group. Although that's where you can go to tell me, you suck, Matt. Don't come on the podcast again.
Your filth board.
Right? You ruined the super dynamic of that show. I mean, it's a trio.
Balance of power has shifted.
There you go.
Anyway, well, we hope, like I say, you enjoyed this, and talk to you soon.